Hi there and welcome to another Accounting Accelerator tutorial. I am Tessie. In today's tutorial we're going to look at what do we do in an exam when we have to deal with an unusual transaction. By that I mean a transaction or adjustment that you have never seen before despite having done loads of past paper questions. Well, the answer is we go back to basics. That is the double entry principle. Debits equal credits. The transactions that we're going to work through in this tutorial I've taken from the IB November 2022 Paper 1 Question 2. There were not one but three of these unusual transactions in this question. In my teaching experience, I have found that the learners get most of the entry correct, but they don't apply the double entry principle, and so the entry is never completed. And it's usually that last transaction or that last account that is left off, and that is the one that gets the marks. So let's get started. From this IB question, I've just taken the information that we need in order to illustrate how to apply this double entry principle. The date for the year end is the 28th of February 2022. We've got three balance sheet accounts, trading stock, cash float, and accrued commission income at the beginning of the year. Then we've got in the nominal account section, we've got commission income, rent expense, and repairs. Adjustment number 1. The bookkeeper forgot to reverse the accrued commission income at the beginning of the year. Ruby Robotics Limited changed the arrangement, and now commission is paid up front. Commission income received for the manuals that will be sold from March to April 2022 amounted to 9,500 Rand. So let's start by identifying the accounts that are affected here. We've got the accrued commission income. We've got commission income. And because we're going to have commission received in March or in the current year for the next year, we've got deferred income. So those are the three accounts that are affected. All you need to do now is draw just very rough general ledger T accounts. We're not going to put in any detail because all we're doing is making sure that we're applying the double entry principle. We just do everything abbreviated. So here we have accrued income. Then we're going to have commission income. And we've got deferred income. Now let's put our entries in. The first thing is that this was not reversed. So accrued income is a debit because it's like a debtor. That needs to be reversed. So we're going to credit accrued income 8,200 and we're going to debit commission income 8,200. Now what's important to remember is that's going to be a minus. Moving on, we are told that they've changed the arrangement and now commission is paid up front. Commission income received for the manuals that will be sold March to April amounted to 9,500 Rand. So therefore, what's ever sitting here in this commission income, we don't worry about the amount. Part of it relates to next year. So we've got to subtract that. So we're going to debit commission income 9,200 and we're going to credit deferred income 9,200. And there you've got your double entry principle. Let's move on to the second transaction. A robbery took place and 6,000 Rand was stolen from the cash registers as well as 20,000 Rands worth of stock. The insurance company has advised that the cash is not insured, but the stock is insured under the following clause. Stock loss up to the value of 50,000 Rand, less in excess of 15% of the amount claimed. They will pay the claim in March. So let's go and identify the accounts. Cash was stolen from the cash register, so that would be your cash float. Stock was also stolen, so that is trading stock. We're going to receive money in the next financial year, so that will be accrued income. We also have cash that is not insured, so we've got an expense there. Let's do our ledger accounts quickly. So in this case, we've got 4 ledger accounts. So we've got cash float, we've got trading stock, we've got accrued income, and then we've got a loss due to theft. Which will obviously be an expense. We've lost that 6,000 Rand, so we're going to minus it out of our cash float. We're not insured for that, so we've got to write that off as a loss. Then the stock. Let's understand what the insurance policy says. It says it's insured up to a value of 50,000. Well, that's good because we lost 20,000 stock. But there is an excess of 15% of the amount claimed. What that means is that the person who is insured, this is the business, they've got to pay the first 15% of their loss. So in other words, this 20,000 Rand, they're not going to recover in full. They're going to have to take the loss of the first 15%, which if you work that out is 3,000 Rand. So the insurance company is only going to pay them the 20 minus the 3. The insurance company is going to pay them the 17,000 Rand. So let's remove the 20,000 from our trading inventory or our trading stock. The amount that the business is going to lose is 3,000 Rand, and the insurance company is going to pay us 17,000 Rand in March. So that will be our accrued income. So if you add up your debits and your credits, we've got 26,000 Rand on the credit side, we've got 26,000 Rand on the debit side, so we've covered all our bases. And then the last transaction, number 3, the front security door was damaged due to the robbery. Ruby Robotics Limited paid 4,000 Rand to have the door repaired. The payment was incorrectly recorded as a repairs expense. The landlord acknowledged that it was his responsibility and said that they may deduct it from the February rent that is still owing. Rent has remained unchanged during the year. So let's start by identifying the accounts. So the 4,000 Rand was recorded as repairs, but that was incorrect. Rent is still owing, so we've got an accrued expense there. Let's now go back and have a look. They said the rent was unchanged. So our rent expense here of 115,000 Rand 500, that is for 11 months only, divided by 11. So that means our rent is 10,500 Rand a month. Let's do our ledger accounts. We've got rent expense. We've got an accrued expense for the rent owing. And we've got repairs. Rent expense was 10,500. That's still owing, so we're going to add that to rent expense. We're going to credit accrued expense, 10,500. Now the 4,000 Rand was incorrectly added into the repairs. That was wrong. So we've got to take it out of repairs. There's your credit. Where's your debit? We're going to take it off what we owe to the landlord. He says deduct it. Okay, so let's go and deduct that. 4,000 comes off your accrued expense. So you can clearly see we've got our double entry. What is going to be paid to the landlord, therefore, is the 10,500 minus the 4,000 Rand. So I just want to spend a minute looking at this transaction and what has happened here. And what has happened is called offset. You've got two transactions or two people, two parties and two transactions going on here. You've got the landlord and you've got the tenant. The tenant owes the landlord rent, but at the same time the landlord owes the tenant the 4,000 Rand for the repairs. So instead of the tenant paying the landlord the 10,500 and then the landlord refunding the tenant the 4,000 Rand, what happens is the amounts get offset and just the net amount of the 6,500 Rand gets paid. So why is this important? This is important because I want you to note that the expense amount does not change. The rent stays the same. What does change is the amount that gets paid. The settlement amount is what changes. And this comes up quite frequently in exams where they say that the director's fees are still owing, but he's taken trading stock or something to that effect. So remember that your expense does not change. What does change is the amount that gets paid due to the offset of part of the debt. Okay, so I hope that helps you. And when you come across a transaction you've never seen before, quickly just do your little T accounts and you should be fine.